G'day guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing a review of a horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2009, directed by Jake Kennedy, and this film is called Penance, and the story to Penance is as follows. When hard times fall, Amelia takes to stripping to earn extra cash. One night, her best friend, also a stripper, is beaten on the job, so Amelia steps into her place. But the job is not what it seems. Driven to a remote location, Amelia is drugged, beaten, and held in captivity by a vicious sadist, hell-bent on one thing and one thing only, to purify Amelia for her sins. So Amelia is this young and single mother. She is raising a daughter on her own. She works at a battered women's shelter, but she's not getting enough money from this. So she's really struggling to make ends meet. Therefore, she's making a movie, a documentary, in order to try and help her get some cash. So she takes up stripping. Her best friend, who's also a stripper, convinces her to do this and that it's some good cash and that it will get her a start. So she reluctantly accepts this. They go on a few jobs. Her best friend is teaching her the way. So one evening, her best friend is beaten on a job, and Amelia goes to her friend to comfort her. She tells her to call the police, but she says, no, this is just part of the job. So Amelia is furious with this, and she wants to quit being a stripper because this has basically shaken her. But Amelia's friend says that there is a job, that it's going to be $3,000 in cash, and this is going to set her up, and that it's too good to refuse. So eventually Amelia accepts this. She's very reluctant to do it because this job is at a mysterious location. She doesn't know the people that are involved in this, but the $3,000 cash incentive is always there. So she accepts this. She takes the identity of her best friend because her best friend was supposed to do it, but obviously she can't anymore. So Amelia steps into her shoes and she is driven to this secret location. Now she finds out all too late that this location is run by sadists who are very religious, who are going to cleanse the strippers of all of their sins in very, very painful ways. So that's all I'm going to give on the synopsis. What's in store for Amelia? That's something you're going to have to find out for yourself. Now my thoughts on Penance. Penance has a really good idea, but unfortunately it was lost in very juvenile filmmaking. Now to start off with, I don't know why this was a found footage horror film. It didn't need to be a found footage horror film because it had a really interesting story. It's based off a doctor in the 60s in Australia who did these terrible, terrible things to females. And I thought, yes, this story could work if it was put into the right hands. But unfortunately this film fell into the wrong hands. It takes a really good idea, but unfortunately completely butchers it. Now to start off with, as I said, the found footage authentic feeling that the film had going for it was lost. It wanted to come across as realistic, but there were certain moments in the film where you think to yourself, why would you be taping this, and how come the bad guys aren't noticing her taping these sort of stuff? So you're constantly asking questions as to why you're taping it, and it completely loses all the realism. So therefore the found footage approach is completely useless because what they are striving to do is basically butchered in their execution. So that start off with, I didn't like the fact that it was found footage. I thought, yeah, if it was done well, it could have been something, but unfortunately, you have to have a suspension of disbelief. And for a film that wants to contribute an authentic feeling, that completely just backfires on them, and it's kind of like a contradiction. Secondly, the acting was fairly decent, but the characters were paper thin. The main character of Amelia, she was a stripper. She was trying to, basically make ends meet in desperation. It could have had grounds for a very sympathetic character, but unfortunately, no time was put into it. Yes, you were told that she was desperate, but the desperation didn't come through in her character. Yes, she cries. Yes, she plays the sympathy card, and there's a little bit of melodrama there, but you never really believe it. So I didn't like the characters. I thought there's some actors, Graham McTavish. He played the sadist. He was off Rambo. I'm not really familiar with a lot of his work, but I like him as an actor. He plays the sadist. He plays a very interesting character, but once again, that character is not gone into. It's a very one-dimensional character that you get no real insight into, and as I said, it's based off a true story, so this had potential to be a really memorable role, but unfortunately, he just doesn't have too much to play with. He does his role well, but unfortunately, it's just an underwhelming experience throughout the entire movie. On a technical basis, basically on a storyline, it was just very underwhelming, and it come across as quite average, a very ordinary film. I thought there was a little bit of soundtrack in the film that once again took away from the found footage horror element that the movie had. So it felt like this director was way out of his depth. And I will say that there are some very shocking moments of violence, but unfortunately, that's all you will remember the film for, the shocking scenes of violence. And it felt like it was just there to be a shocking film. It wasn't there to strike you with a good story. It wasn't to strike you with good cinematography. It was just basically one or two very shocking films that will make you cringe. And I will give him credit. He wanted the audience to cringe, and the audience will cringe. But unfortunately, that's all the film has going for it. You won't remember it for the good reasons. You'll only remember it for these really, shocking scenes that basically, yeah, you will remember it, but a few weeks' time you'll completely forgotten about it, because there are films out there that are more shocking than this. But unfortunately, it's a chore to get through. Now, Michael Rooker and Tony Todd play cameos. I thought they were wasted. That was just basically in there for a few minutes, and what you get in there, once again, is very underwhelming. So none of this film strikes you as worthwhile, and unfortunately, I really can't recommend this film because it does fall well short. So overall, for Penance, I'm only going to give it 1 star. I thought it was quite terrible, and yeah, I'm going to forget this in a few days, I'm sure. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.